All right, good morning, everybody. June 24, I think, Friday, in the day of our unlords, in the day of our fake kings. Didn't sleep much last night. Didn't have power. In fact, I had to use the inverter from the car to pump up my bed. Why? Because experiment. I ran the air conditioner on a timer. Which is something I wanted to do, see how often I could run it. So I ran it for 30 minutes and on for 30, off for an hour, on for 30, off for an hour, on for 30, off for an hour. And it was a shady day yesterday. And it all worked out. I mean, it all worked out in the evening. I think the last cycle was at, supposed to be at like 5 o'clock, I think. But that cycle didn't go well. I had to run and get water, the big tote of water tank right there. I really hate pulling that thing, which is why I only fill it up about no more than 150, 200 gallons. Mainly big suckers, 800 pounds, 1,000 pounds a ton at that point. I don't like pulling that on my old 20-year-old Petunia. She's a good car. She's stood by me, but I'm trying to lessen the load on her. I need her to last as long as possible. And until I get a truck anyway. Something that can take regular daily off-grid beatings. But so it was a great day. The fact that ran as well as it did, the air conditioner, pretty much all day, every other hour. I need to get another wind turbine so I can pump that up, and we'll try to run it 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off. I want to get enough power to a point where it can run all the time. Of course, wind turbines spinning like crazy. Identifying problems. So the reason why I didn't have power late is because when I went to go get the water, something happened with the solar system. I imagine the AC cut on. There wasn't enough power, and the way the inverter works, it turns everything off for a moment and turns it back on when the voltage gets too low in the battery bank. And so it probably cycled on, off, probably 100 times. And the charge controllers don't like that. So I got home in time to make sure I could get a decent charge. Well, she's spinning like crazy, isn't she? And there's no wind out here at all. I love that turbine. On, off. It drove one of the charge controllers crazy. So the main solar panels I used to power in the evening, this little fleet of 4 guys right here, they weren't charging. And no matter what I did, I recycled the charge controller many times. I couldn't get them to charge. It just kept going to absorption and float mode. The other one worked, but it wasn't enough to get enough charge in the battery. The batteries were at the bottom, and so into the evening they went to the bottom, and even the wind turbine couldn't produce enough to pump them up. So slept in the dark, no internet, which is fine. It's a good experiment, good realization. Got to add a little more power to the system. Got to add more batteries to the bank, which is okay. But it doesn't matter to me because it's a great thing. It rained last night, which is why there's still that tarp. It's not just a tarp over the shed. There actually is a tarp with a, there's plywood and there's polyurethane sheeting that you do in greenhouses. So that's there. The tarp is a little extra. I didn't rain protect it. This is all temporary stuff. I've got the asphalt for doing the roof. I got the plywood for doing the roofs. It just really isn't that important. You know, I've come to realize that this is not a desert. This is a man-made dry place. So the roof isn't a priority. You know, like even last night, the reason I didn't get sleep, it had nothing to do with the power. It had to do with, you know, I'm staying up because I want to make sure that nothing important gets wet. There's still electronics in there. I don't want to get wet. I stayed up to protect them. So the roof isn't a priority. But that's probably the 4th or 5th rain, I would say the 4th, that I've recognized being here. I've been here, maybe a month and a half. That's not a desert. Not my understanding of it. I mean, you don't get a lot of rain, you know, but it's raining frequently enough to keep all types of plants alive. And if the water weren't running off because we killed all the trees, if the water weren't running off, you know, a lot of other species of plants would survive here. This is not a desert. This is a dry land where it doesn't rain a lot, but because we've killed the soil, being ignorant, because I used to like Happy Meals, eating too much burgers, we destroyed the land. Which leads me to my point. Which these are just, I guess these are regular journals. I guess they'll be daily or 5 times a week. I'm not sure. When I went to go get the water yesterday, I had a great conversation with the water guy. He was talking about there's a lake down the street from where I am, actually downhill from me, 12 miles away. And he said we used to swim in the lake all the time before the landowner put a gate up because people used to leave trash out there, so we can't swim in the lake. Yeah, and you know, you're not supposed to have lakes in deserts. So that's the runoff water, or they probably have a well. But the important part is that the lake, that's one of the lakes I saw on GPS that helped me to pick the property, to realize that, you know, if they've got lakes out there, evaporation isn't as a big of a problem as we think it is. And this is what I've been suspecting, like with the rain barrels. Like even last night, I left the top off the rain barrel, and I'll do it sometimes for parts of the day, and the water doesn't all evaporate. The experiments I did, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I forgot. These guys, where I'm just setting out water to slowly drip irrigate. Oh, sorry, I just scared the lizard. These guys are everywhere. They love me. Actually, one just, see, and that's why, see the fly that just landed right there? They eat those flies. If he sees it, he's gonna nail it. Let's see if he sees it. Or maybe I scared him. I started watering this morning, and one of the lizards ran to me, ran to the grow bed just where I was watering. All right, he probably doesn't see it. Or he's a little more concerned with me. He's not, he doesn't love me yet. All right, anyway. So this guy right here. So I set it out 2 days ago, and it still is no further down, probably than 1.5 inches, if I'm not mistaken. So the water's just sitting there. It's slowly dripping out. There's a hole in the bottom. I put a bunch of, I put water in, poked a hole, put the water in, and threw a bunch of clay on top of it. And the clay is slowly wicking into this water. It's allowing the water, I believe, to slowly wick into this grow bed, which is what I want and I hope. And I have to confirm that the 1.5 inches isn't evaporation. This is a very well expanding clay. And with this, this is how the guy holds water in those ponds. This is how you make ponds, is with clays that expand. And that's what I have all over here. So making ponds won't be an issue. I'm now rethinking, well, not rethinking, probably getting more excited about creating a reservoir up here. Once again, for the ignorant, it's not to steal water. It's to slow the water down. You're holding the water higher, on higher elevations, because I'm in the hills, and it slowly trickles down to the lower areas, like where the gentleman has the lake, or the woman, I don't know who it is. So higher up here on my property, which is where I need to start, higher up, creating lakes and reservoirs, and slowly over months, that water will drip down into the lower levels, right? Because the ground is not dry, right? The ground is not solid. The ground is hollow. A good example of that, if we shoot over here to one of the dry riverbeds, see if I can get a rock. I need to slow down because I got on shorts. I still have not seen a snake out here, but you know, I try not to do stupid things. All right, I need to try to make these journals probably no more than 15-20 minutes. I'll wrap it up in a moment. But these are hollow. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that? The hollow echo. That's a hollow rock. Those rocks are carved out because of the water. Not the water that runs on top, but the water that runs underneath. There are rivers all under the ground, and that's where a lot of these plants are surviving, on the underground condensation and little dropping of streams. When you hold water high up like that, it could take months upon months upon months to slowly drip feed down to the lower portion. As an example, the water bottle that I just showed you, It might be letting out a drop every 2 hours if it's not evaporation. But bentonite clay ponds, they hold water very, very well. In fact, bentonite can be quite expensive. So if I create lakes and reservoirs and dam these dry riverbeds up, in the first big storm that we get, and even if we don't get a big storm, just from the runoff from the plateau, the higher level up there, I can create as much as I want in terms of holding water, letting it slowly drip irrigate the entire area, the entire 50 acres down to the bottom. And then, of course, that'll drip irrigate the neighbors. And that'll bring back springs, and that'll bring back possibly slow running streams. This is how you regreen desert as I understand it. You go to places where it rains enough, it's just that the rain doesn't stay. And you don't stop the water, you slow the water down and you push it underground like Zephaniah from Africa, the rain guy, forgot his last name, where he, his statement is, he says, I don't plant, he gave away thousands of trees and they all died. Most of them died to his neighbors, which is what I want to do. But he said, everyone loves to plant trees, but nobody plants the water. If you don't plant the water, the trees are going to die. Because that's just, we got lives. We do things. We're busy. So you don't want to stop the water. You just want to slow the water down. And so that's part of what I'm doing out here, is confirming that I can significantly slow the water down, and I have everything on the property to do that, to create various ponds that hold water. Even they can hold water for 6 months. That'd be great. Even if it only holds water for a month, but it takes 6 months for that water to actually finish going downhill and leaving the area, it'll still water everything I need it to. That's why I'm slow irrigating the grow beds I have, to get the plants to push their root systems down deep enough where they can tap into the underground springs that are already there. That may only be condensation, but slowly might be a drip irrigation system that nature already set up. But we destroyed it by killing the trees in the higher elevations that hold that water. All right. I mean, that's pretty much it. It was a great conversation I had with him. I haven't checked the other bottles. I'll check those guys, but I'm pretty sure they're holding water also. They're all different. Different methods I'm doing to see what holds water the best, so I can start doing drip irrigation, so I'm not hand watering everything. I think now there might be about 20 planted areas, and it's starting now to take 10 minutes to water everything. And I'm not here to work. I'm not here to homestead. Well, I am here to homestead to a degree, but I'm here to automate. I'm not here to struggle to survive because I'm going through a midlife crisis. As some of my friends think. No, I just realized that the way we live is no way to live. That's not living. It's waiting to die, working for billionaires your entire life. Like I just told my brother, who's actually on his way here, this isn't about me. This is about living better. I've wasted my entire life working in corporate America. I've wasted my entire life working for billionaires who are just too lazy to work, and they just want to keep handing their kids their empires. And I have no other way to figure out, how do I take my life and take it from a wasted existence, 60 hours a week working, and make it valuable to the next generation? Well, I've got a son, he likes to take pictures. I think he wants to be a photographer. Got another son, likes writing software. Another son, I don't know what the hell he likes to do, but whatever he likes to do, he should do it. I don't want them to be slaves like I have. I don't want them to waste their life trying to pay bills and retire for people who live a retirement. And so if I can create a place where people can be artists and musicians and screenwriters, photographers, the things that that the billionaires don't pay well for, because it doesn't serve them, it doesn't build a world for them, then it means that people can live a little free. That's how I feel I can make my life have more meaning, is to give my kids and hopefully a bunch of other kids a chance to chase their passions and their dreams, not the dreams of billionaires, because of how much they're willing to pay for the free labor you're willing to give up, because it literally is free labor to them. Anyway, I'm not gonna go through that. Check this out. This is one of the casters, which is pretty funny to me. I've never seen them flower this small. I guess this is about maybe 14 inches. But every day I try to come out here and I'm trying to get an idea of how fast they're growing. This is the cage I think I've showed you before that stops, you know, well, it's not going to stop the hogs, but at least it'll slow them down or make a little noise so I can come out, make sure my friends have free bacon. I'm not playing with the hogs in this area. And so every time when they grow, I have to raise this, and it gives me an idea of how fast they're growing. I've never seen them flower this quickly, this small, but I'm raising it probably every other day. So they're growing about maybe half an inch a day. They grow a lot faster than that, but you know, I think that this all has to do with the soil, and it has to do with the dryness and them determining at what pace they should grow. They're tropical plants, and yet they're planted with dry land plants. As an example, there's a sunflower that's growing with a moringa, and they shouldn't be growing together because one likes it wet, moist, and the other likes it dry. And the way I compensate for that is I'll water them more frequently, but less water. So they dry up enough for the dry land plants to be happy, because that's the long-term overstory. But they're also getting water enough for the tropicals to make it. So I think in most of these beds I have seeds for dry land long-term plants, and short-term like the castor, which will get large and provide a canopy which will keep the dry land species alive just long enough until they can get enough water. So anyway, yep, and there are more seeds popping up. They're just coming up. I think that's about it. So today, what am I doing? It's a conversion day. So work crew is on the way. My brother's bringing them. They'll be here sometime today. And that actually signifies the movement of this project from the can we survive here to let's start building things to thrive. And that's big for me, because I was pretty sure we could do this. I was pretty sure I can build enough infrastructure to hold more people so we could actually start creating, you know, the aesthetic side of it, the creature comforts. I wouldn't say we're totally into it, the aesthetic phase, but we're definitely into the creature comforts. And so now, as the green, which I've redone, I had to redo for various reasons. I think I've already explained. I've got the post concreted in. I'm thinking, as this can be wrapped up quickly, I'm not racing to do it because I'm thinking about the enjoyment. The back portion here, there's going to be a pond right here, and I think I'm going to be doing that today. So I'm going to build a back room back here. I guess it'll be about maybe 10 feet wide, maybe 10 feet, 10 by 10, something like that. Put a pond here, and it'll just be a place where a cooling room where you could step in, put your feet in the water on a hot day, cool off, feed the koi. There'll probably be a little waterfall in there, and that water is going to be used, you know, inside the greenhouse in terms, you know, for aquaponics. So to a degree, it'll be a natural pond where the plants filter the water, but also a cooling place you can go in, maybe even have a mister in there where long hot day they can get a little relief. Like, that's the biggest challenge out here, is probably the flies. That's number one. That's the greatest threat. Number two is just the heat. You know, mind you, we are in a heat wave and what, 100-year drought. You know, so it's abnormal, but it's still rained 4 times since I've been here. That I actually woke up and knew that it rained. I'm sure it's rained a lot more than that. That's normal for Pennsylvania. It's just not as much rain in terms of volume. But the second would just be the heat, right? right? The heat of the day, when, you know, you can work up till about 1 or 2 o'clock. Somewhere around 2 o'clock, you're, you know, working through 108-degree temperature. It's like, you know, and I'll go run errands. So the air conditioner is key for that. It gives you a whole bunch of relief throughout the day. But having it placed a little bath, I don't want to call it a bathhouse, that's nasty. Not nasty, but, you know, it's not a place to bathe. It's just, you know, get the dust off your feet. The plants will eat the dust and cool off, and then get back out to work. So that's kind of the phase we're going into. So now is a phase for working on things that make it a little more comfy, and then aesthetics. And so comfy is going to be like the geothermal cooling, the cooling house, the misters, more shade. I'm actually going to put up a shade structure right here where I'm at. The cob houses, which may get started today or tomorrow, the first one. 16-inch walls made of earthen soil, earthen homes, so that they're cool the entire day, you know, maintaining a cooler temperature than what a wooden structure would. And that's why I said at some point in time, these guys get knocked down. From a distance, I don't want to see any man-made structures. I want to see a forest. But anyway, I think I've run my mouth enough. Today I'm gonna work on the pond. Might start working on a cob house and spend a little time in the greenhouse. Started putting a shelf in the front, and I need to make it bigger to get all the tropical plants that are kind of just sitting out here struggling, and get these guys into a humid greenhouse, because a lot of these that are left are tropicals and they need to get in there so I can plant the seeds. But anyway, a tray, a shelf to get them in there. A lot of that equipment that you see in those boxes perhaps underneath the shelf, so it's a little more organized, so I can start getting everything out of the elements and into a structure. And that'll be the gist of the day. If I can get the pond area done, I'll put the liner down. And if I can get the liner down, I'll go ahead and get the water out of the tote and go pick up another load of water. All right, that's pretty much about it. Appreciate you watching. This is a journal entry for June the 24th. 26, I keep thinking 2016. What happened in 2016? Why do I keep talking about 2016? 2021, in the year of our Lord, our fake lords, who keep us as slaves their entire lives, because we make great free labor and we like to brag and be excited by it. But anyway, that's not going to go down that political route. Not on this channel. Anyway, y'all have a great day. This is Gerard. I'm out of here.